All right. As I said, each individual you see before you is a volunteer. They volunteer to be a part of the chain gang. They volunteer to come here tonight. They volunteer because they know they're making a difference. They know that they are doing something positive in someone's life. And our concept for the chain gang was I wanted them either out on the side of the road working or they're down helping clean the kennels and walk our dogs at our care center. But most importantly, I wanted them to be part of this program. And I wanted mom, dad, grandparent, foster parent, whomever, to be driving down the road. If they see them out on the side of the road working, I wanted it to be a message. I wanted to be able to pull over and say, that's what happens if you get in trouble. That's what happens. These guys take it to the next level, though. So I'm going to ask them to start by actually introducing themselves and telling us why they're in jail today.
Inmate Adderley, violation of probation of controlled substance.
Inmate Balk, violation of probation of dealing in stolen property.
Inmate Bird, violation probation, dirty urine.
Inmate Wesley, violation of probation, drug paraphernalia.
Inmate Hunt, violation of probation for stealing a motorcycle.
Inmate Efstathiou, violation of probation, grand theft.
Inmate Lee, violation of probation or grand theft.
Inmate Weinikainen, driving on suspended license.
All right. And we'll start down at that end. How many times have you been arrested?
Roughly 5 or 6.
2.
Around 8 times.
About 5.
Around 10 times.
2.
3 times.
Around 10 times.
Okay. All right. I always ask them this question. How much longer do you have in the Brevard County Jail? We'll start here.
84 days left.
52 days.
About a month.
3 months and a half.
3 months.
2 months.
6 months.
34 days.
34 days. Not that you're counting, right? So, all right. We'll start at this end, and the first question from the audience is, at what age did you start getting in trouble?
When I was 17.
I was about 15 years old.
About 20.
About 15.
27.
17.
17.
14.
Okay. And what was the first thing you ever got in trouble for?
The first thing I ever got in trouble for was possession of controlled substance.
Assault and battery against my dad.
Possession of marijuana.
Possession of marijuana.
Possession of controlled substance.
Possession of marijuana.
Possession of marijuana.
Aggravated battery.
All right. We'll start at the other end. And again, this is a question from the audience. If you had to do things over, what would you do different?
Listen to my parents, pay more attention to what they say, follow in their footsteps.
I make better decisions. Think before I act.
Just listen to my parents more, gone to church more, done what I was supposed to do.
I would pick the better people to hang out with, better environment.
Okay. Speak up a little bit, guys, if you would, please.
Listen to my parents, make sure I finish school and hang around the right type of people.
Just slow down.
Spend more time with the family, definitely.
Listen to my parents and just pick my friends more wisely.
Okay. All right. Do you have a plan to change your life for the better? Start here. What is your plan?
My plan right now, I take GED classes at the jail. So my plan is to get my GED and focus on finding a job.
Okay.
Taking parenting classes at the jail to learn how to be a better father to my son so he doesn't make the same choices I made.
That brings up a good point. How many of you are parents? Okay. All right. Go ahead with the question.
Just start school again.
Make sure I find a job and try to get my G better myself.
Pick, let's see, let's pass that one.
Okay.
Get back into work as soon as possible, save up enough money to start my own company and go from there.
Okay.
Finish getting my GED and finish working.
I'm taking parenting classes, AA, I go to church, just think before I act.
All right, okay. Let me ask you this. You've all been in jail for a little bit of time here. When's the last time you saw your child? Anybody can answer it.
It's been at least 4 or 5 months.
Okay,
So I'm like 2 months ago.
2 months ago? Okay, I was just curious. Do you believe that God can change your life?
Yes.
I do. I've seen it happen to my parents, and my father's preached it to me many times.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, sir, I believe so.
Yes, I believe so.
Absolutely.
All right. So tell me and tell our audience, what is the average day like for you? What time do you wake up?
Around 3 in the morning.
About 3? Is that when you eat breakfast? Yes, sir. Okay. So what happens after that? Take it at the end.
You go back to sleep, and we go to work about 8:15, and then we go to work, come back, and then it's just life in jail. You know, there's not much to do. You sit around and read, think, play cards. I mean, there's really not much to do in jail, you know?
Okay. All right. What's the food like in jail?
Deliciously nasty.
We always get asked that question, what's the food like? And they always insult our chef out there. That poor chef has it a hard time. If you could tell a child today one thing, what would it be?
Stay in school, listen to your parents. I mean, your parents are not going to tell you anything wrong. Don't follow your friends' footsteps, and don't listen to your friends, because your friends can be a bad influence on your life, and your parents will never influence you to do anything wrong in life. They always want you to do the right thing.
Definitely listen to your parents. You know, they're not going to steer you in the wrong way at all.
And just stay positive.
Stay in school. Make sure you try to pick the right type of crowd, and stay active with some positive sports or something that's going on that's going to keep you out of trouble. And just pick the right crowd. You should be all right.
Listen to your parents.
Just go as far as school as possible and stay in church and believe in God.
Be a leader. Listen to your parents.
Another thing, listen to your conscience. You know what you're about to do is right or wrong before you do it, so just keep that in mind.
Some of you may have already answered this, but what's the first drug you ever tried?
Marijuana.
Definitely
Marijuana.
Marijuana.
Were there things that your parents could have picked up on that would have known you were doing that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Would it have made a difference?
To me, no. It wouldn't have made a difference if she knew or they didn't know. I was still going to do it.
Why?
It's just, at the time, a lot of my friends were doing it, and I thought it was the cool thing to do. And I kept doing it, and then eventually it led to me doing harder drugs, and I ended up here.
Okay. All right. Anybody from the audience, and rather than writing it down on a card, does anybody have anything they want to ask these guys before, and I'll repeat the question so that everybody can hear it.
I'd like to know how many of you were spanked as children, and would you spank your own children?
Okay, let's start on the end down there.
I was spanked, and I do not believe in it. There are better ways to punish a child than spank them.
I was spanked and disciplined as a kid, and I have no kids.
I was spanked as a kid, and personally, I believe I wasn't spanked enough.
I was spanked as a kid. Yes, I do believe in spanking your kid on the butt, or,
You said you were, and you do believe it?
Yes.
Okay.
I was spanked as a kid, and I do believe disciplining your kid by spanking them every now and then when they get online can help.
Yeah, I was spanked as a kid too, so if they disrespect, discipline them.
I was spanked as a kid, but I'm trying to take a different approach to things this time.
Yes, I was spanked also. And at the same time being spanked, you have to sit down and have a one-on-one with your kids and understand what they're going through and try to talk to them.
Okay. Pastor Wash's question was, he pointed out that he's a pastor, but he's also been in their shoes before. And he wants to know what they derive from this program. What do they have that makes them rethink what they're doing, and what are they going to do differently when they get out?
Like I said, I'm going to look for a job. This program, it just helped me realize like how much my freedom is important to me by me sitting up here with these chains on, having to talk to people, and knowing that I can't go home and see my family. At the end of the day, I have to go back to the jail cell and lay down and think about the things that I've done wrong.
Realizing that I'm not there for my son and the things I've done to hurt him, it's credible.
Yeah, this program like helped me like think about certain things. Like when I get out, slow down, just get my CDLs and hit the road and just do positive stuff from there on out.
Mainly trying to find a job first and try not to go down the same route that got me here, and just try to stay on the right track by not doing the same thing.
Try to just focus on life. Just, you're being in here, it's just like, man, where's life at? There's nothing. You're like, wow, how much different it is being locked up than it being on the streets. You're like, man, it's terrible. Nobody, I don't talk to nobody on the outside. I have nobody on the outside. It's just terrible.
The program allows us to get out and actually do something good for the community, and it gives you that pride back that you didn't have before, and it just opens you up to realizing what you can do.
I want to be positive and drug-free, be a better role model for other people so that they won't wind up in my shoes.
Yeah, being in jail has given me the opportunity to reevaluate my life and realize what I need to do and not do. Like not drink, think before I act, be the father and husband I need to be.
Who would be the first person you'd call when you got out of jail? Great question. I'll start down there with you.
My wife. If not, I think I'd be in huge trouble.
I'd probably call my parents.
Yeah, mother and father.
Mother and father?
That was my sister.
Your sister?
Call my girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
Mother.
Yep, my mother.
My kids.
Kids? Okay. Question is, how many of you feel like hanging with the wrong crowd led to you being where you are, and how many of you will hang with that same crowd when you get out?
I mean, I'm not gonna hang with the same crowd, but at the same time, it's like I have to take responsibility for the choices that I made. It's not the crowd around me that made me do those things. I made myself do the choices that I chose to do to get me in trouble, so I have to make better choices in life.
Okay.
I felt I was influenced just from some of the people I hung around, to how their parents would treat them and act and what they could get away with at their house. So I thought I could do the same thing.
Never really had a crowd to hang with. I just made my own bad decisions. And so therefore, I just held my own.
I'm definitely not gonna hang with the same crowd. I'm definitely gonna stick close to my family and the one that matters the most. So I'm definitely gonna change the people who I hang with.
All right. Something else in another area of your life? Okay, the question was, first of all, and I'll come back to your question, but how many of you dropped out of high school? Okay. So the question is, when you dropped out, was that because of everything going on, or did dropping out kind of lend to that? Is that correct, sir?
The dropping out kind of led to hanging around the wrong people. I feel like that was the biggest part of not finishing school the way I ended up. I feel if I would have finished school, I would have been a better person and on better positive things instead of having a lot of time to waste by getting in a lot of negative activity.
Okay.
I dropped out of high school because it's like at that time I felt as though I didn't really need high school because I wanted to be in the streets, and I didn't understand that I really would need my diploma in the future.
Okay. How many of you have a high school diploma? How many of you have a college degree? All right. How many of you are going to get a college degree? All right. Excellent. What do you regret most about the path that you took that brought you here?
The thing I regret the most is not be able to go home and see my kids. And once I do call them, they ask like where I'm at, when I'm coming home, how much time I got left, and keep coming up with stories after stories like really hurt your feelings, make you feel bad to yourself.
Down to you.
What I regret most is when you're addicted to any substance, alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be, you don't realize you're only hurting yourself. You're taking time and everything else away from the people you care about most. Like, for instance, I drink. That's my addiction. Instead of spending time with my family, with my son, I'd get off work and go to the bar. Now I'm in here sober, actually thinking clearly, thinking, man, that day I went to the bar, I could have taken my son to the park, I could have done this. So it really, gets you to kicking yourself in the rear end.
My main one was regretting not making the right decision.
Mostly just not being around my family, being out with people, partying that I should have never been around. I mean, that's just one thing that eats me up alive is just the separation from my family. And, I lost quite a few family members and, I wasn't around.
For the benefit of the young people in the audience, how many friends do you have in jail? And by that I mean, when you landed in jail, how many friends do you have now?
None.
Where are your friends at?
Dead or in prison.
Okay. Do you find out who your friends really are when you land in jail?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. How many of you come from, they could hear it, but let me repeat it just for everybody else. How many of you come from a single family home or a broken home? Okay. What would have made a difference? What would have kept you from being where you are?
If I would have listened more to my parents and wasn't being disobedient and trying to go against what they said.
Okay. How about you?
My mom and dad, they hated each other so much that my dad would set rules, but my mom would break his rules. So I could do this at his house and I could do this at her house. So I never followed any one of their rules.
Just bad decisions, period.
Just what?
Bad decisions, period.
Making better decisions?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you think about your decisions before you made them?
Definitely not.
Nah, move too fast, couldn't even think.
Decision that was going through your head, but you still thought you probably could get away with it. You was thinking about it.
How many of you thought you'd never get caught? How many of you were involved in a church community, faith-based organization, programs, stuff like that? So 3 of you? Okay. What else? Yes, ma'am. Before you answer that, get her an application. I'm looking for good deputies. So that's a great question right there. Why did you do it? We'll start with you.
I was, like I said, I was in the streets trying to live a street life, and I just got caught up.
Okay.
Addictions.
Just felt like I was old enough to do it.
You were what?
Felt like I was old enough to do it.
Old enough to do it? Okay.
Dropped out of school, started looking for something to take my mind off while I'm not in school, not playing sports, so led to me using drugs.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Money.
Money?
Drug addictions and thinking that you'd never get caught.
Being under the influence, making all the wrong decisions and choices.
Just thinking I wasn't going to get caught.
All right. How many of you felt like your parents were fully involved in your lives? And let me back up for just a second. How many of you didn't get in trouble until after you were 18? Is there anybody? Okay, 3 of you. All right, so your parents, we already asked how many of your parents were fully involved. Did your parents employ discipline? Were they the type of parents that were asking you questions all the time or being engaged in your life? Is that correct? Okay. And just anybody wants to answer that.
Well, I was practically raised by my grandma. My mom was addicted to alcohol and pain pills. I never knew my father, so I never had any parental discretion. I always pretty much did what I wanted, and I started getting in trouble. Didn't have anybody to tell me what to do, nobody to say, go this way instead of that. So I think that made a big role in where I ended up. But, I think about it, I make my own decisions, so I can't blame anybody but myself.
Will you promote this program when you get out? And I'll answer, I'll kind of add to things they're saying. When we first started the Chain Gang, the team and I went in and asked our inmates to volunteer to be part of the chain gang, to volunteer to do not only what they're doing tonight, but to volunteer to go out on the side of the road and pick up trash and you know, the caring for the animals and everything else. That night, before we left, we had 34 young men that said, I want to be a part of this program. I want to be part of something positive. The first time we rolled them out was down off of Lake Washington, and I went out, and there was a young man there that I knew. He had worked at some of our precincts before he got on the chain gang. And I just happened to know that that was his last day in our jail. He was getting out that night at midnight, and it was the first time we were ever using the chain gang. So they were all lined up waiting to start, and I asked him, I said, what are you doing here? Today's your last day. Why are you out here? And he said to me, I didn't want to leave without being able to say I was part of this. I didn't want to leave without being able to say that maybe today a kid sees me out here and decides not to do that. And I think these guys, in their own way, know that something they say tonight, something that they do tomorrow in their actions and in their duties that they do, may just keep somebody from following in their footsteps. And I think it's a true testament of them, the fact that they volunteer to do it versus being forced to do it. So, yes, sir, I know you had your hand up.
What do you guys think about the legalization of marijuana?
Sure. What do you think about, is legalizing marijuana okay?
I think so.
I can say that marijuana never hurt me in any way. Drinking has ruined my life.
It probably would have kept a couple of us out of trouble.
As much as I like doing it, I think it's a terrible idea.
I don't do it.
Okay.
I don't believe in it.
Anybody else?
I think if you play any kind of sports, if you're going to school, you shouldn't be doing it. But if you ain't doing neither one of them and you upper age, I don't think nothing wrong with just marijuana.
All right. Let me, and I'm kind of follow off of that. Let me ask this. We often hear that marijuana is a gate drug, that, you know, it leads to other drugs. Would you say that marijuana led you to other drugs? Or would you say that the associates you made from marijuana led you to other drugs? Which would be the case?
It was a little bit of both, really. Like, I was chasing that next high just to see what was out there.
Anybody else?
I would say it was more curiosity in the people around me than marijuana.
Yeah, I would say no matter what you try first, your first drug, that's your gateway drug because that makes you feel a certain way. So you're going to think, well, what's this going to make me feel like? That's my aspect on it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Question was, if you've used marijuana, at what age did you first use it, and how'd you get a hold of it? So let me break that down. How many of you have used marijuana? All right, so almost all of you. So what age did you first use it, and how did you get your hands on it?
I was 12, and it was my big cousin.
It was 12 and your cousin?
14, and kids in the neighborhood stole it from one of their parents.
15, I heard somebody talking about it.
You first 15 and what?
16, I first heard somebody talking about it. So I just said, hey, let me get some too.
Okay.
I was like 15, and my older friends had some, and I tried it.
I don't do marijuana.
You've never done it?
14, friends from school.
I was about 11, and one of my older cousins put me on it.
I was about 12, and all the kids in the neighborhood had it.
Okay. When you were younger, did you ever think you would be in the position you are right now?
No.
Never.
How many of you would do it again? Anybody? All right. What was missing in your life that might have kept you on the positive path had it been there?
Actually, nothing was missing. It just was me making bad choices and, like I say, wanting to be disobedient to my parents and not listening and want to see the world for myself.
Okay.
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. You know, I was rebellious for some reason.
Yeah, not really sure, probably if I just would have stayed in college, I probably just have been somewhere different, not here.
Growing up in a broken household, if people have just their mother, I think if a man have a father role, a father figure, that'll like keep him on the right track, because you can only listen to your mom so much, but you'll really pay attention to what your father's saying if you have one in your life.
That brings up a good question. How many of you had what you would consider a positive male role model in your life? All right. Once you experienced what you had experienced or started the snowball effect, I guess, did you ever try and tell somebody else, don't do what I'm doing, don't be following the same footsteps? Is that correct? Okay. Anybody want to take that?
I'll take it. Yes, it happened with my little cousins. I've always tried to tell them to not follow in my footsteps because they always tried to look up to me as a role model. I was never a good role model. I was always making bad choices and decisions. I told them to just stay in school and be your own leader, do your own stuff, and just don't do nothing bad. Stay away from the drugs. They're not good for you. Even if you know marijuana is not bad for you, just don't do all the other drugs and don't do marijuana because it's not good for you. It'll make you do dumb decisions and dumb things.
Okay. Every one of you, repeat offenders. What is it that is the defining moment that says, enough's enough, I'm not coming back to this place? What is that?
The defining moment is when you be in visitation and you have to see your son through a screen, and then your son start crying because he want to come home, or he want to come where you are, and you're not able to come hold him or stop him from crying, or able to even help him through life, or see him ride his first bike, or just do anything.
Okay.
I have to say about the same thing. This is the first time I've had to do this much time in the jail, and just realizing I'm not being there for him.
Just thinking about jail, period. That's like my defining moment. Like once I'm out, I'm done, over.
All right.
Well, my final moment is my kids getting older. They're about to get ready to graduate from school, so I'm not trying to be coming back and forth in here. I'm trying to be a positive role model for him on that.
Being here this long period of time is really like, I ain't coming back here.
To be honest with you, the other times it just didn't matter to me. I finally just hit that point in my life where it's just enough is enough.
Out of the two experiences I had, it made me look back in the past at all the bad decisions I've made, and it made me want to look into the future of like, am I going to be in and out of jail every other year or in prison the rest of my life? I want to be somewhere in the future. I want to be doing something better for my life besides being in and out of jail.
This is my first time being incarcerated since I've been a father, and that hit me really hard. It gave me the opportunity to, reevaluate certain aspects of my life and realize there's some things I just can't do, and certain areas of my life I need to start taking more seriously. So this time out is exactly what I needed, and I'm grateful for it.
Some of you said that you'd never been in jail this long. If the first time you got arrested, if you had gotten put in jail for a longer period of incarceration, would it have gotten your attention?
It probably would have. I probably would have wanted to straighten out and not ever wanted to come back.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
No.
You don't think it would have impacted you?
No, at that age, with everything that was going on, I wasn't ready. Sometimes you're just not ready to change. Can't force anybody to change.
Very quickly, tell us, what is your career? What do you do? What, plumber, astronaut, whatever it is?
I specialize in metal roofs, and at nighttime I work restaurants.
Me and my dad, we opened up a detailing business, and we own our own detailing business, and we wash cars and detail cars.
Construction and signs.
Construction?
Painting.
Painting?
Lawn service.
Lawn service?
Construction.
Landscaping.
A barber.
Okay. And the follow-up to that is, how are you preparing right now, whether mentally or through any programs or anything, to land a job when you get out there? Obviously, having a criminal record makes that more difficult. In fact, I know Pastor Wash and some of the other pastors in the area have done career fairs for people with convictions, criminal convictions and stuff. So what are you doing right now to prepare to be out?
I'm getting my GED, and I'm getting more focused on the right thing, and by putting my faith in God and letting Him lead me there.
I'm going to look further into schooling, see what I can do to get a career to at least put that behind me.
Just keeping the positive ideas when I get out, just stuck in my head when I get out, I just go straight to them.
Just keeping in contact with the right set of people, the positive people that's still doing the positive thing by working.
All right.
Stay away from the people that are negative to you. Just, if you got friends that are down a bad path, you need to stay out away from that path and go on with a positive path. I'm on a positive path. I'm going to the north to live with my brothers.
I'm blessed enough to be able to go and work with family just to get back on my feet. And then, like I had said, I want to be able to start my own business because of the fact that I have certain charges that won't allow me to get a good job.
I'm going to further myself with God and continue to working in my own business.
I'm lucky enough to have both of my jobs when I get out, so that's a blessing, but I still want better for my family. You know, a construction job and a restaurant job, I feel there's better.
Did any of you have any special goals or dreams that being where you are today ended?
Yes.
What was yours?
When I was in high school, I actually wanted to be a lawyer. You know, me and my best friend, we grew up. He wanted to be a police officer, and I wanted to be a lawyer. He's actually a sheriff right now in Tampa, and I kind of fell off making the bad decisions, and I wound up in jail and not going to be able to be a lawyer now.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I played baseball basically my whole life, and because of the fact that I started smoking marijuana when I was 15, I just fell away from that, and I was decent enough to be able to go to college with it if I kept at it, but I just let it go.
How many of you had what I would say limited involvement in sports growing up? How many of you had a lot of involvement in sports? Okay. All right. I know we had a question over here. Okay, a little bit louder. I couldn't hear you. What made you do drugs? I can't hear the last part. Who influenced them? Gotcha. What made you do drugs and who influenced you to do it?
Like I say, it was my cousin that I smoked my first marijuana cigarette with, and it was just me by myself after that.
Okay.
Just hanging out. That's what, for some reason, all the kids in our neighborhood did.
No one influenced me. I just did it on my own.
Hanging out with the wrong type of crowd, just if they was doing it, I thought it was all right for me to do it too, so the wrong type of crowd.
Okay. What else?
You have a jail ministry, and have any of you been involved in it?
Do we have a jail ministry and have any of you been involved in it? How many of you have been involved in the jail ministry program? Okay. All right. What else? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. What are you going to do to make sure that your children do not take the same path that you have chosen?
Just lead them in the direction that I didn't go. Just try to be the best father I could be and be there to guide them. You know, do this, don't do that. You know, maybe not exactly say, I did this, but no, just try to lead them in the right direction. Just be a good father.
I have no kids, but I'll probably be a better role model and just lead the younger kids into a better life.
I think I would tell them exactly what I've done and just be as completely honest with them as possible and let them know exactly what's going to happen if you do what you think you're going to do, you know? I mean,
Okay. I'll take one more question from the audience, then. Yes, ma'am.
My question to them is, you done tried your friends, you done tried your drugs. At what point now are you willing to try God and to change your life?
Tried your friends, you've tried drugs. What point are you going to try God to change your life?
I think that's the perfect question. I mean, it's absolutely 100% true. Everything else did not work. We know that for a fact. We're sitting here.
Before I started making all the wrong decisions, I was a church person. I went to church every Sunday. You know, I did all the church events. I just started making all the wrong decisions and hanging out with the wrong friends.
If you try the same thing over and over again, and nothing changes, you got to try something new.
Okay. All right, I'm going to close by asking them a couple questions that I find unique. We've had these other questions come up from the audience. And the first one is, if you were a superhero, who would you be?
Superman.
Superman?
I like Batman.
Definitely Superman.
Superman?
Yeah, Superman.
Pass that one. I don't.
All right.
I'm gonna have to go with him. My dad,
With who?
my father. I mean, he was
All right.
perfect role model.
I'm gonna have to go with Captain America.
Spider-Man.
How's the jail?
It's not like being at home.
Each of you have a remote that you change the channels on the TV? What channels you get? The Weather Channel?
Jail channel.
Jail Channel? You see me a lot on the Jail Channel? All right. My last question for these guys is simply this. Who's your hero?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother?
My mom.
Definitely my mother.
My mother.
My mother.
My grandmother.
Definitely my mother.
God.
Okay. All right. I told you at the beginning that these guys volunteer to come up here. I also said that it takes a lot of courage to come up and share your life story with people you never met before. It takes a lot of courage to come up and admit you made mistakes in front of people that you've known your entire life. It takes even greater courage to come up and admit you made mistakes in front of people you never met before. I also told you I partner with these guys and all of our team that's here tonight, from crime prevention to corrections, just across the board, community relations and our volunteers, that we partner with these young men up here to send a great message. And that message is, everybody makes mistakes, but there's consequences for those mistakes. And we got to get that message. We got to get that to our kids, to our younger generation, and we got to be involved in our kids' lives so that when that mistake occurs, we have the ability to correct it before it becomes a tremendous mistake. And I think it takes a lot of courage to do what they did. I'm going to ask you to get to your feet and let them know how much you appreciate them being here tonight. Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, guys. Perfect job, guys. Everybody did great. They did awesome. We're going to close tonight by, first of all, thanking you for being here tonight, taking the time to be with us. I know this is a long program, but I don't think there's a program out there that has the potential to impact our society more than being a great parent. I know you have with you your evaluations. Please turn those in as you leave. We really want your feedback. We want to know how we can make this program better. We want to also be able to demonstrate the impact that this program can have. On behalf of the Brevard County Sheriff's Office and the incredible 1,500 men and women of our agency, thank you not only for being here tonight, but thank you for your incredible support of law enforcement. We are truly blessed to live in this county, and we can't thank you enough for giving us that. So thank you, everybody. Have a great night.